And see, speaking of Batman and bad, I stopped paying attention, but I would only follow it through Jade Longbone. The Batwoman series. So I mean, at least Obi-Wan can't be half as bad as that was. All I did was watch her reviews of it, and it was just painful and so bad and so inconsistent. And
it's terrible.
There's just so much pain, and then they're leading a campaign to save it. I'm like, for who?
Tried.
The 5 people that watch it?
They tried. Those are the most loyal 5 people of all time. You leave them alone.
No, they're the people that wrote the show. That's why they watch it. They've got to fund it.
Don't take our funding.
Like, we're gonna keep it alive.
Oh no!
Well, don't forget their mothers. So there's probably 10 people.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Unless they're true Batman fans and they have no parents, you know. That's the only way you can relate to them, of course.
Right.
Lord Almighty, I don't understand. Like, I think honestly, as it's a trope at this point, but seriously, activists can't write exactly Bugle Daily. That almost threw me off for a second. But they can't. It's like too much woke. And I know it's an old thing to say by now. That is why Top Gun is doing so fucking well. Yep. Because they are not trying to pander to anyone. They're just doing a good movie. And that's all they need to. Got them with the dead parents.
Well, and I was going to say, I agree with, like, the activists can't write. And like the reason they can't, well, they don't know how, but instead what they do is they think their audience is stupid. And they've done this for a couple years now with stuff. And they just come out and like, they tell you the punchline. They tell you the message. They don't know how to show you it, like with actions, with difficult decision-making. They don't know how to character build, and instead all they do is they put these like moments that are supposed to be sad, but you couldn't possibly care about them because, like, who are these characters? Why should I care that this robot walking down the hallway is all of a sudden dead? Okay, you put some sad music in there, big fucking deal. Like, give me the story behind that. Like, why should I care about this person? And they can't do it. Instead, they give you a 5-minute monologue of why you should care and what they were doing and intersectionality and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wow, okay, I guess I'm just stupid to these people.
And that's if you notice, they write the same way they protest, or the same way they get it's all very in your face, a couple of splashy moments. It might look good for a second as long as you pause just the right moment. I like to play a game with really badly made stuff. Where did the funding go in this episode? I started doing that with anime. And I would always, because my husband watches way more anime than I do. I read more manga. Because then, you know, the funding goes throughout the entire book. But with anime, you can always tell the hair moves slightly more. Suddenly they blink. You know, the mouth actually enunciates. And I'm like, oh, we're coming to the part they funded. Watch more.
Yeah,
and
you put the anime in slow-mo, you notice that like you put it in slow-mo, you see how they animated like all the each scene or
the color change.
Yeah, you see the color change. You see how like Naruto and Dragon Ball get lazy as fuck with their animation.
And they use like that was something I noticed as a kid, but I thought it was just, I don't know how I reasoned it. I thought that they would purposely change it to screw with the viewers. Because I didn't realize they used multiple studios. As a little girl, when I'd watch Dragon Ball Z, that's what I grew up on, was Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon. Those were the first things I watched. And I couldn't figure out why sometimes Goku's eyes were 2 oblong light bulbs. Sometimes they were round. Sometimes they were little diamonds. Sometimes he was shiny. Sometimes he was flat. And I didn't understand why. And then I found out Akira Toriyama used like 7 different studios across Korea and Japan. So sometimes you got Koreans, sometimes you got Japanese, sometimes they spent like, you know, I'll throw out a number, 500,000 on an episode. Sometimes they spend 10,000. You know, you could usually tell. That's why, like, if you ever watch Steven Universe, that's why sometimes it looked great. And other times, let's just say it looked. And And what I found out is apparently this is a big thing because Rebecca Sugar did it and other people were doing it. They did a loose storyboard timeline, and then they would hand that off to the animation studios, and then the studios just kind of wrote the story from there as they saw fit. They were handed a little bit of something, and then they got to do whatever the hell they wanted with the script. You wonder why there's plot holes a mile wide.
I do want to come back to this comment too, real quick. The funny part about this, and I agree, the funny part is that if they just made compelling characters, they would make so much more money. They would have so much more of a story to tell, and you wouldn't have every like YouTuber going after these shows, because at this point it's like it's just obvious what we're going to get from them. It's like, but just take the time. We want good stories. You look back at all the beloved stories of the past, they took years to make because the people who created them gave a shit. And now it's like, oh, well, whatever we can whip up in 5 minutes, some guy wrote while taking a shit on the back of a napkin, you know, like.
Well, see, it's easy to give a shit, but you know that they're the only shit they can give you is diarrhea.
Right.
Yep.
The problem is they expect you to care like they do about the characters, so they write it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They don't expect you. It's like you sitting there calling, like, "Oh, my great aunt Louise died. Oh, that's so sad for you. Why aren't you more upset?" She's not my great aunt Louise.
Right. I'm sorry, I don't feel bad.
I'm sorry, I don't feel, but that's how they expect you. They want you to have the same emotional attachment to this character that they've worked on for maybe 2 years, but you didn't give us a reason to like them.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah.